Good morning, and hope everyone's doing well. And we have a cloudy, cool morning here in my old Kentucky home, but before long it's going to be hot and humid, and we're going to be complaining. Why do we do that? We complain if it's hot, we complain if it's cold. I guess it's just our nature to be dissatisfied with whatever we're handed in life, but I'm just thankful to have a good warm house to stay in and warm clothes, so I don't have anything to complain about. But today I had a couple of things I wanted to talk to you about for a few minutes. But first of all, just telling you a little crazy thing that goes on with me is that my husband and my daughter always laugh at me because I have to have milk in the house. Now, why would I have to have milk in the house? Well, we live about 10 miles from town. And so if you run out of milk, what are you going to use for your cereal, your oats, your toast and the eggs, everything? Milk revolves around all of our meals, it seems as if. So I'm always really cautious about watching to see how much milk we've got in the house because we use quite a bit. But I was saying that to just give you this little tip that I found a year or so ago, and you may already know it, but it might help you. When I buy a gallon of milk, it's just heavy for me, and it's not that I can't lift it, but I just like to be on the safer side, I guess. I pour it into quart glass jars and keep it in the refrigerator. And it just seems like it keeps it so much colder and it keeps it longer. So if you haven't tried that, I would advise you to do that and see if that would help you out. Because I have just found in the long run, it just keeps your milk colder and stays longer. So try that out. Another thing I wanted to tell you was my dad. I've told you he was an old-fashioned preacher. And I guess that's why I grew up being more thankful for my daily blessings, because he reminded us very often of, to be thankful. And I was just thinking the other day, how many times have you been by a fast food place or in some of these little places like Five Star, Casey's, any of these little places with gas and food, and maybe young kids, it could even be older people, who knows, are saying, you can hear them say, or they will even say to you, oh, I can't wait to get off work. I just got like 7.5 more hours, or 5 hours and 25 minutes. And that always kind of just takes me down a little bit, because my dad always said to appreciate your job. It doesn't matter what it is. If people are paying you for a job, you should do your best and not be complaining about it, because there's a lot of people out there that might want your job or would be so glad to have a job just to be making some money to help their family out. So I think it's so important for us to be more thankful for things that we're given, and even though many times I would get so down about my job, I would think of what my dad said about appreciate your job. Do your best. If there's nothing to do right then, if you've got some slack time and you work for someone else, there's always something that could be done. Like if you work in fast food, there's always something that could be done. So if any younger people are watching this, maybe they will think about that, because you're blessed to have a job, especially in these days and times. I think the main thing I wanted to tell you a story today about my mother that died at 65 years old, and I was 42 at the time that she died. Precious mother, so loving and kind and caring for me and my brother and my dad. And let's see, she died in 93, so this would have been 92. I was still teaching high school, business classes, computer classes, and at the beginning of that year, the principal came to me and said, we're going to be giving you a yearbook class, and you will be doing the yearbook for this school year, and it's going to be done on computers. Well, scared me to death. I had never learned the program, never seen a program that you would do the yearbook on the computer. And so I just wasn't comfortable with doing it at all. So I had to do a lot of work that year to get that done. Had a big class of students. Here I was learning and trying to teach them and get this yearbook done, and there's a lot included, a lot of stuff included in doing a yearbook. So of the summer, my mother turned 65 in August of 92. And at that time, she had never held a job like out in the public, except when her and my dad owned a men's clothing store. She had just worked for their store. So, of course, at this time, she would have been retired anyway. And so they were going to draw Social Security when she turned 65. My dad never kept insurance, medical insurance on them, because supposedly he didn't think he could afford it. And they never were sick very much. They didn't go to the doctor that often, but still, that's so risky not to have insurance. So when she was 65 in August, I had noticed that summer that she was just changing a little bit, just moving a little slower, not saying a whole lot. And one day she told me that she had found a knot in the back of her arm, one of her arms, a big knot. But she said, I'm not going to the doctor. We don't have insurance. I'm not going to the doctor to see about it. The Lord would take care of it, or whatever would happen. So if I understood that correctly, when you turn 65, and if you go to the doctor with something major wrong with you in the first 6 months, you don't have insurance. Maybe your Medicare is not available during that time. So actually, with her birthday in August, it would be January before the Medicare kicked in, because you cannot get the Medicare and have a pre-existing condition. So all during those, from August to December, here I was at school, trying to get this yearbook done. Just anxious, just stressed out over it. Well, my planning period was during the middle of the day, and my parents lived like a mile from the school. And I knew that she was sick, but I didn't really know what was wrong with her. So I would come up there, not every day, but I would go up there some days at lunch and talk to her. Complain. Just, if I can just get this yearbook done. Oh, if I can just make it till February, I'll have this yearbook done. Just, you talk about regrets. I have the regrets of carrying on like I did. And she would just comfort me. Oh, you can do it. All this. And each day, she was going back a little bit more and a little bit more. Well, by Christmas, she had lost so much weight, and she always had a big Christmas dinner. I mean, she had these beautiful dishes she set out. She cooked a big meal, everything that you can think of, she made. And my dad helped her a little bit more, I noticed, this year than he had previously. She didn't want me or my brother and his family to bring anything. She had everything. She had gifts under the tree for all of us. It was me, my husband, my son, my brother, his wife, and he had 3 daughters. The kids were small. She had endless gifts for us all to open. And that year, when we even got ready to eat our meal, which the dining room was right next to the family room, just in one room, she laid on the couch. And I couldn't accept, that my mom was getting pretty bad sick. I just couldn't stand the thoughts of it. So she told me on January the 1st that she was ready to go to the doctor. So I came up that morning to get her, and she was in the bathroom trying to put some color on the roots of her hair. Her hair was gray, and she used what was it that, I can't think what the name of that color was that everybody used back in those days, you know, just temporary to cover your gray roots up. And I went in to the bathroom, and she had like a full slip on. Her little shoulders and her body was just bony. And she never was really big. She weighed probably at the most 140 or 150. I mean, just panic went through me. And I said, Mom, why are you doing your hair? I was going to do it for you when I got up here. And she said, I didn't want you to have to do it. You know, isn't that like a mother, you know, trying to save their kids from having to do something? So she rolled them on those little brush rollers and would sit under one of those hooded dryers. So I fixed it for her, and we got her ready. And when we got ready to leave, she had a little suitcase. And I said, what are you taking that for? We're just going to the doctor. And she said, I probably need to take it. I don't think they'll let me come back home. So I took her to the doctor. He immediately saw what bad shape she was in and was breathing, you know, had short breaths, and sent us to a doctor about an hour away. So my dad and me and her went on over there, and that doctor was very alarmed because he could tell by her symptoms, you know, lost weight, pale, just breathing short breaths. And so they put her in the hospital, and then within just a little while told us that she had cancer. Lymphoma was what, but guess what? It was the good kind. Well, I would hate to see the bad kind because she was bad. And with that, I mean, there's so much more to that story. She was in a hospital, she was back home, then she had to go to a larger hospital. They wanted to give her chemo, and that was back like in 95, so you can imagine, you know, that's when it just made people deathly sick. She was so weak she could not talk. And she begged me on the bed in the hospital when we were in the city. She said, please, I want to go home and die in my bed. And I said, Mom, we can't, we've got to get you well. And she did not want to take chemo. And my brother, I called my brother and I said, you've got to come up here. He lived about 3 hours away. I said, you've got to come up here. Mom is really bad and she doesn't want to take chemo. So he came up there and he saw how bad she was, and he said, we're going to take her home. That's what she wants to do. So we brought her home, and she lived for maybe a couple of days. But, you know, on her deathbed, she was saying, I'm ready to go. I've raised you kids. You know right from wrong. You know what to do. You've got your families to raise. You know, she was ready. She was ready to go. But from all that story, which is a very sad story to me, but I'm not trying to make anybody cry, this is my point of this whole story. That we should never wish a day of our life away. Hey, back in the fall, I was going up to her house, either after school, and complaining, on and on. Oh, this yearbook class, I don't know if I can do it, blah, blah, blah. And she was sitting there with cancer, with less than 6 months to live, and saying, oh, it'll be okay. And I know that like when we're young, like when we're 14, 15, we cannot wait to get our driver's license. Do you remember saying that? I can't wait to get my driver's license. Just, you know, that was a big part of life, is to get your driver's license. Or you've got your wedding planned. Oh, I can't wait till such and such day. We don't need to wish all these days away. And I've tried to raise my daughter into saying, you know, oh, I can't, she'll say, I can't wait till prom, or I can't wait till this, or we're going to Florida. And I'll say, don't wish your time away. Let's just enjoy each day and make the best of it. So today, that's just kind of something that was on my mind that I felt like I need to share with you. I'm sure we've all done it. I've done it, learned the hard way, but after that incident happened, through my years of teaching, I would always say to my students, don't wish your life away. Do not wish your life away. Because so many are looking forward to an event they think is going to be so great, and then may not end up being that great. But hey, let's enjoy today and be nice and kind to each other and encourage each other. I am just enjoying watching so many YouTube videos, and I don't know where I've been that I haven't got involved in this sooner, but anyway, I'm thankful that I am now, and I hope that this might give you a little bit of encouragement and that you'll have a great day, and I'll see you the next time.